Hey, good morning, man. This is Reverend Joseph Andrew Jensen Sr. Okay? Today, this morning, is the last day that I'll spend. Tomorrow morning, my daughter will take me and God, us, to when she gets off work at 7 o'clock in the morning, she drives straight here and then she carries me to the Charleston International Airport. Drops me off there. I have an 11 o'clock flight to John F. Kennedy, where I'll spend 11 hours in New York. Uh, then I will proceed on Turkish Airlines to Istanbul. I only have a 1 hour transfer to another flight in Istanbul to go to Cairo and be at Cairo at 8 o'clock, um, 8:45 p.m. in Cairo. Today I do all my packing again and start with this podcast. Today is the first day of the rest uh, for the rest of my journey. It'll take 16 years. God and I will, as the time that we land, we've already been working hard. It's not like this is just starting. It's been going on for 5 years, ever since June the 9th, 2019. But today, we, meaning God and I, will be traveling for the first day, knowing what we're doing. And we're traveling uh, to Cairo to get everybody in this world God's coin. God's coin will be God. Will be, as said, everybody in this world will have God's coin. Now, the reason it's going to take 16 years is because I'll be going to one country every month for the rest for 16 years to reach 195 countries. I'll be Cairo is a repeat. I just came back from Cairo since um, in February. I spent February in Cairo and, for 28 days. Okay, now making long story short, I'm coming. It's like I said, it's the last day for six. Uh, it's also the last day for humanity to stay in the way that they are. There's no more this. This is it. This is for real. It's the same as God is for real. God is for real. He lives inside you. He is life. I told you that in the words that God told me for the last 20 years when I speak in tongues, kapotai, kapotai, shila kapotai, meaning. Kapota means I am. Kapotai, I. I am, I eat. If he says, and now he's saying Shila Kapotai, means Shila means listen. Shila Kapotai means God wants, it is telling you, listen. Shila, Shila Kapotai, 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 Shila Kapotai. Okay? This is God talking, and I am talking for God because in 2019, on June the 19th, I gave God my hands, my feet, my mouth. I've been traveling literally 100 miles an hour to 1,000 miles an hour a day sometimes. When I've taken these flights, I've gone to Africa, Cairo, Jordan, Joel Osteen's church, the largest church in the United States. Uh, I've gone everywhere and it's been so busy for the last uh, 5 years. Now it's going to get even busier as I have a job to do in each country. That's to meet as many people as we can. We is capitalized with a we, meaning God and I. I will go where God wants me to go, and I will go uh, see who God wants to see. I'm never disappointed. There's people God will lead me to help me. There's people God wants to see um, for His reasons. I have fun. I don't know those reasons, but God picks the people He wants to help. That I have people that have turned over their hands and feet and mouth for God, knowingly or unknowingly. This means that Selena, my book, the person that buys my travel agent, she's already she knows she's part of God. She knows she's a Muslim, Islamic Muslim. Uh, that's you know 26-year old, and she is all in on being of coming with me to book my travels, to be my translator, to write my websites in Arabic and what I need. I will. Others will come when I go to Bujumbura. I have to change my website to French. Every place I go, I have to also open a different web store on my website. Actually, make a new website. It'll actually be a copy of the same website, but it'll just be the different wording because the pictures, I don't change the pictures. I want everybody to get the same experience of what we've been doing and where we've been going. I have to return to Burundi. When I return to Burundi, somebody else will be there. God will put another person to interpret my website in French. Once it's in Arabic, God knows, you know how many countries speak Arabic, how many Muslims there are. I am to the Muslim, Washia, Wahush, Allah, meaning I'm a minister and messenger for God. Okay? Washia means minister. Wahush means uh, messenger. Allah. For the people in America, which I won't be back for 16 years, it's gonna be that is I am a minister and messenger of God. For those that don't believe Allah is the same God, well, whatever you believe, theology, it's like saying you don't have a life. You don't live because if you're living and you're breathing and you have DNA running inside you, you have Allah, you have God, you have IE. IE is what God wants to call Himself to me. I interpret that as internal energy. I've already explained that. IE is to me is internal energy. The easiest way to explain it to everybody. If you're living and you're breathing, you can't deny you have God. Now, what other God in you drives you, wakes you up in the morning, lives with you every second of the day, and for me, God never stops talking. I hear everything. I even hear everything He hears. It's like because He is in communication Himself with the surrounding gods and other people. And sometimes those conversations, though they would be private, I overhear what I'm supposed to hear. When He kind of slips on the speakers for me to hear a conversation when they have a negative coming against them. Not every God's in favor of becoming back here and creating heaven on earth, but all in me, that's exactly what He's doing. He's creating, He's circumventing the gods that do not want to reunite with humanity. They've been walked on, ignored, left behind, not even in their thoughts. They don't want to ever know the person they're living in because of it, they've been rejected. The rejection has been mutual until there's a cold war going on between the God and people, many people. I don't know how many people. Can I say? I'm not going to say everybody, but we don't know how many that is. We do know that there are gods that are against this very much, that to the point that they would kill somebody because they tried that with me. God does not want me dead because if I die, like I told the God that tried to kill me, to go ahead because because there's nothing you can do when I'm coming after you. You can't stop me. He can't stop us here. Why can't God stop us here? Because God's living in you. You're living. Your family's living in your DNA. Your unborn children are already inside you. He knows how many children you'll have in your life. He knows who'll be the fathers and the mothers. He knows you're actually growing in your DNA. All those things floating around in your DNA. There's a lot of them. You understand? Generations and generations and generations are floating around in your DNA. You're living in them. They're living in you. So when these people keep on killing each other, they're not just killing one person. They haven't been killing one person. This is God's message. That's going to end. It ends here right now. It will. Well, I mean, it won't happen right now. Not until this world realizes what's going on. We're talking about life. You want to end life, then quit having children and extinct ourselves. Then God has no place to live. Our DNA has no place to live. And our unborn can't be born. This makes perfect sense. And it's not theology, it's reality. You're human beings. We need to understand the importance of what we're doing. We don't understand what we're doing. We don't understand what we've done to animals. We haven't done the understanding of what we've done to trees, plants, anything with DNA. We have totally messed up. Some gods, I watched a story last night on TV, and it had to do with they trying to find life on another planet. And they watched in the telescope looking for other planets, and they were watching and looking life for another planet. But they were looking for the wrong thing because they were looking for a place that we could live again, that they support human life. But what they didn't do, what weren't looking for, the one guy figured out that they weren't looking for anomalies, a place where intelligent life already exists. And then this man finds an anomaly with a satellite that's orbiting a far away planet in another galaxy. Well, not that it wasn't another galaxy, same galaxy, but the thing about it is he found a satellite that was monitoring another planet, meaning there was intelligent life on other planets. There's no doubt that is true. That's why Allah, or God, in God, the same name, Allah was telling me this, or led me to that movie. It's a fantastic movie. The same message I'm giving you, that we are, that there are most God. I don't know how many gods, but there's the same God, the same Allah, the same God that's inside us. There's only one, because of one life in us does not want to exist anymore on earth. Let us kill ourselves. They will start over. They'll be starting over somewhere else or here. That's what I'm saying. They have a choice. We don't put binds on God. This world's been taken on doing our own free will. We've been saying that we can do as we please. We can eat what we want, we can do what we want, we can say what we want. That's true. That's exactly true because Allah's not going to doesn't want to micromanage anybody. But God has only looked for recognition of life. The importance of life is Allah, is God, that He's living in you with all that He's created that's living. In that we're not inanimate objects. God's created inanimate objects as well that aren't living. Maybe at one time they were living. Maybe the ground below your feet was actually a living organ. It isn't. In fact, it was. From ashes to ashes and dust to dust. Returns to dust. Plants turn into soil. At one time they were living. Are we going to be the same? That we're just like going to turn to dirt and be dirt? No, God's not that way. They know the importance of us having children to perpetuate God. This is the starting of the God's message. I have to give it to all religions. The ones that are so far have been very acceptable are the Muslims, are Islam. Why? Because they know this was going to happen. The world could not continue without understanding God. Not there's a lot of Christians that never that say they love God. It doesn't. Actually, they don't have any relationship with God because their actions show the opposite. That even actually happens with Billy Graham, Joel Gregory, Charles Stanley, James Kennedy. Why? Because they actually preach that they're the only ones saved in the world. And if you don't know Jesus, you're going to hell. There is no hell. I told you that's a relative term. That man misunderstood to understand to be a real place. Psalms 139 tells you, if I make my bed in hell, lo, God will be there. So how could if I make my bed in hell, if I choose to go to hell and be in hell, that's what that means on earth. God will be there. Why is God going to be there? Because God lives in you. Everybody in this world has gone through hell at one time or another. I personally lived in hell and through hell. And there's too many people in this world that have done the same thing. It's a relative term. And it's also a choice. Because it doesn't mean that it's not a physical place. It's a reality that you make for yourself. This world has to understand what God is all about. Where's heaven? Heaven's in your DNA. You're literally living in your family and everybody in your family, on your bloodline, everybody in your bloodline, you're living in. You're immortal. If you're living in everybody and you're immortal, then you're also, they are living in you. Vice versa. They can't die. When I go someplace, I take God with me. When you go to church, you bring God to church. You don't go to church to find God. Churches are just a way to extort money and extort power from the people. They have separated us from God. So has the Bible. So has the Torah. So has the Quran. These are the words. This is a word called mushkila that he likes to use. God, mushkila means it's a problem. They came between us and God. So you honor the Bible. So you honor the Quran. So you honor the Torah. But you ignore God. This is what I'm talking about. You put a book above God. It's living in you. Oh, you're an educated person, and you got the doctorates and PhD. You got PhDs to prove it. Oh, you're a very smart man. Let me debate that with you, and just ask every church to answer two simple questions: where is God? Second question: where is heaven? You guys, nobody. I want to hear the world answer, and I'll be asking those questions, and all the questions. Allah, God wants to go and see. I will see the highest clerics in the world that will see me behind closed doors. You don't want to see me in person in the public eye. Well, maybe you do. Maybe you want to call me down in public. That's great too. But we will meet behind closed doors, and we will, or in public. And during the time that we see behind closed doors, we will discuss these matter of God's message. And we don't see eye to eye, that discussion will go before whatever the results are of the meeting behind closed door. It will get on YouTube and be on the public because of what 2 Timothy 3:16. The first thing you want to do is document everything. I'm calling them out behind closed doors or in public. They don't want to meet, then it goes public right away. It's on YouTube. They don't want to talk about it. They're justifying themselves and saying, I don't want to talk about it. That's the first thing I do on YouTube. For any religion, I don't care if you're the Dalai Lama, I don't care if you're the Pope, I don't care what you are. I was supposed to go see the Ayatollah. But I'm not also coming at that. I'm going to get everybody God's coin, starting with the Bitcoin. They'll understand me. Listen to this part. Bitcoin will be offered immediately when I get to Cairo. I have to get the website written in Arabic, and I have to get the web store that'll take the Egyptian pounds as the currency and the Jordan dinar, the neighboring country. Now, this is the web store will be identical to the one we have in America that sells all my books. It's identical. It's just taking the different currencies. God's coin will not be available ever any other way than going through my website. You understand that now? They'll have to go through my website. The day that you click on that and you buy a God's coin or you buy one of my commodities or thing, you're buying a God's coin only for the cost of the unit of money. For in the United States, that's $1. In Egypt, it's one Egyptian pound. There's 47 Egyptian pounds to the dollar. So they will get to earn a God's coin, to buy a God's coin. 47 Egyptian dollars. So any book that the person goes to get, any book or just outright buy, they're going to get credit for one God's coin. So they buy a book for both. One of my books is $40, the other one's $30. That's $70. They could buy one of my books and get it for $30, and they get 30 God's coin. They could buy one of books for the other book for $40. That's 40 God's coins. Buy them together. That's 70 God's coins. Or they can simply send $1, send in the $70, and get 70 God's coins. But why not get a product as well? This is what I'm trying to tell you. Or both. Send $70 plus the 70 books, because whatever you send is going to get by you God's coins. Eventually, everybody's currency, no matter what they have in cash, will be, if they don't care about it, will be in God's coin. The same as Bitcoin, the big one. There's 20 million Bitcoin out there. Those 20 million people have a choice starting actually today for this broadcast. It's coming. You can't stop God's coin. So I'm offering the trade to give 2 Bitcoin for 1 God's coin. You understand that? My next payday, because I am virtually really broke right at this second. I'm going to. I have less than $30 when I fly and reach Cairo. It costs $25. Well, for a 30-day visa to stay in Cairo. At the airport, I have a problem because at the airport right now, I do have enough money to catch a cab because I still have Egyptian money, about 2,000 Egyptian pounds with me. Maybe not even that much. I don't even think I have 1,000. I got maybe 700 Egyptian pounds with me. But that's still enough for me to catch a cab, hopefully, to get to where I'm staying. I'm trusting God. I trust Allah. It's the way He wants me. He wants me totally broke to start. Because once this message, as soon as this message gets out in Egypt, somebody's going to listen to me. They're ready. Even Selena and the ones I meet will be willing to buy because they're going to be buying God's coin. Whatever they go on that website, by Egyptian pounds they spend, they'll be getting God's coin. The same with those in the United States from a web store. Go buy anything from a web store. But they only have until November the 16th. And November the 16th, the United States, it will cost them $66,000 to buy a God's coin on November the 16th. You understand that? Because the Bitcoin is worth $66,000. So if Bitcoin traded in 2 God's coin, one God traded in 1 Bitcoin to earn 2 God's coin. And the first person that does that immediately, because I do not hold any money, immediately that means there's only 2 open accounts. It's always going to be shared with how many accounts are open. So that first person, that thing, and it needs to be Satoshi Nakamoto. I'll tell you, that first account needs to be Satoshi Nakamoto because he's got over 1,000 Bitcoin. And if Satoshi Nakamoto is that very first person, he shares 2 Bitcoins to earn 4 God's coins. Remember, it's 2 to 1. So they share. If he shares 1 Bitcoin, he gets 2 God's coins. Then I immediately the The 66,000. That's more. That's $66,000 doubled has come into my bank. No, it's actually $33,000 because he gave me one Bitcoin. No, he just gave me. I'm getting confused again because these numbers, you can tell it's not my thing, but it's God's thing. $66,000 is one Bitcoin, and he just handed me $66,000, and I just gave him two God's coins. So that means I just gave him back the same amount for one Bitcoin. He hasn't lost a thing in the wood trade. What he's done is he opened up a communication, a gap, a way to earn more Bitcoin. So everything that he has, if it was Satoshi at that same transaction, that same time, he makes that same transaction, and he's the first one. He's not losing a dime. He gives me one God's coin. I give him, he gives me one Bitcoin. I give him two God's coin. I returned to him $66,000 in his bank account, so he hasn't lost a dime. But this opened up his bank account with me. It also means that Satoshi became the hands and feet and mouth of God. He gave God hands, feet, and mouth because he actually did what God asked him to do. Unknowingly, unconsciously, any belief in it, no matter what his belief, he actually did something for God. He opened it up account. That's what that's all about. So when the first person that has Bitcoin to get to God's coin with, they are getting the first account, and if it makes any sense, because money doesn't stay with me, it gets immediately divided and shared. This will be a 50-50 arrangement because there's only two accounts that exist. There's mine and God's Living Ministry, which is my account, my own personal account. It'll always be my own personal account. There will never be a committee. There'll be never be. I am a sole proprietor in the United States. I am the owner, the founder, and the only God's messenger. Because I am God, the representative of God on earth. I'm his messenger. We cannot let a committee or anybody come between us. I was a crane operator 35 years. Nobody comes between me and my levers but God. And then God's got to push a button and pull a lever for me to do anything. The same when you're driving a car. You can't let the third party come between anything. In the case of third parties, that changes to could be turned into millions of people meant to make the decision in the committee. This two-factor identification, it's crazy. And that's all going to be explained to you. Nobody's going to come between people in that because everything's going to be done by the phone. That's your personal phone. That will be given to you. Or you'll get on your own, but it will have your facial recognition, your voice recognition, your fingerprint identification, your hand geometry, your grip identification. It'll have all that for you to conduct your own business. It's also going to be that because if you're not registered to vote, you will be registered to vote at that moment if you're 18 years old and older. And every 18-year-old will get a phone. But this is the way that it's going to be done personally. No more communication. In fact, all communication and transfer of data is going to be outlawed. It's going to actually be thrown away. Even the people that have been in prison, their records are going to be hidden, destroyed. The chance to start over. Why? Because this world's on another level. They're going to receive so much money. Everybody's going to receive so much money they can't spend it all. It means you can have a car. You can have a different car every day. You're going to have a new home. You're going to have wardrobes. You're going to party. You're going to do anything you want, guys. I'm putting any limitations on what you want. You're not going to go to other people looking for their help because the people, everybody is going to be free labor. Everybody that's 18 years old to 40 years old will be on God's payroll. Their companies where they are working at now will not have to pay payroll. God will take that over that payroll. But God's going to pay enough, but you're only going to work 4 hours a day at your normal job. But you'll do the best job you can do, and you're going to be perfect at your job, and you could become an expert at your job. You're going to be the best employee. That's your job, is to learn to be the best. So exactly what the owner wants, you're going to create. This means that everything's going to be free. Hospitalization is going to be free because they have free labor. Daycare is going to be free because you have free labor. You're going to even have available to you free nanny services, live-in nanny services for your family. They will be in God's services as well. Everybody that works in God's services will earn a God's coin per week. That's $66,000 per week in the United States, because that's equal to what the God's coin is. So everything's free. Education's free. Healthcare is free. Anything happens, free. Even getting a massage, even get your a manicure, even getting your hair done. These are free services. All these are free. These commodities won't be free. When you go to the store and you go to buy shirts, TV sets, or anything, and your God's coin is limited to 20 years. You've got 20 years to use it or lose it. Oh, that's a bad deal. What other choice do you have? There's not going to be a choice, because God's coin is going to reach the entire planet with 9 billion or over people. We'll find out exactly how many there are by the open accounts. Who's going to refuse it? That's why even the gods inside us that they don't want heaven and earth have no choice. They've just been walked around. That's why the Christian and every religions, Jews, Buddhists, Hindus, anybody of any religion is not going to be able to exist as it is. Their temples and their churches and synagogues and things, they will still be open, with the new understanding that when you go there, you're bringing God to church. You're not going to that church to find God. That's the new understanding. That's true religion. And then you're there to worship God, praise God, thank God, and take time for God. That honors God. When you know God's inside you, but you still take time to go to church and meet, or even hear a message like this one that you need to hear. I won't say you're going to repeat the same message, but this is a good thing. We're not going to dwell so much on the past, but we're going to learn what we're not supposed to be doing. This will be an open discussion of what the mistakes are inside the Torah, what the mistakes are inside the Quran, what the mistakes are inside the Bible. Yes, there are mistakes in all of them. And this is what I'm saying. I won't bring out every mistake. I got to still look into a lot of things, more things, but I will get help as I go. I want everybody, before I start mentioning all the churches and everything wrong, I want others to look with me, do the research. Let's find the dirt. Let's do the investigation behind the churches and their books and their writing and their beliefs. Let's do the investigation. That's exactly what it says in 2 Timothy 3:16. When I go see somebody behind closed doors, that's documentation. That's to document the meeting. You either had the meeting or they refused to have the meeting, but the result, the next thing, is for me to show the proof. Show proof. Let's document the meeting, then show your proof. Back your statement up. What you believe. Where's God? Where's heaven? Back it up. Give me proof. You see what I'm saying? Now, what's the next step? Let's talk about it. Let's debate it. That's in Second Timothy 3:16. The first is everything when you talk about God, it's good to be for to be documented. Second of all, show your proof for reproof. Then the third is to be debated. Then we debate it, and then we give that summary of what it comes out of that meeting after it's been debated and when it's exhausted everything issue. That's when, and only when, it should be taught, not before. Don't talk out the top of your head and anything like. Don't say nothing unless you can prove it, unless it's documented, unless it's debate. That's what Second Timothy 3:16 says. It's true in every religion when you have these meetings. So when as I travel, God will be going and addressing presidents of every country. He will be addressing the highest authorities in whatever churches. He'll be addressing anything that they have hidden. God will tell everybody because everybody's going to be a voter in the world. There's going to be 100% democracy of all voters. People able to vote. Who are going to demand that the first vote will be to be able to vote from home by phone, home or any pre-registered place that they mention where they'll be meeting. And they'll have the luxury of not deciding to vote. The second of all is going to be transparency. That means that just like on reality TV, all governments, whatever everybody's talking about, whether it's the Congress, the Senate, the Ways and Means committees, any committees are talking about, and they're saying that's going to be on reality TV. And we can vote on those issues 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You think things will get done? And what choice have they got? Because as we were talking about, every family, the head of households and every family, every 18-year-old will be in control and making decisions. Politicians will be doing their job as servants and not, and they will, if they want to be in politics, it's up to the people to decide. You have to satisfy the people that you're doing all you can do for the people. You can be voted out faster than you was voted in. Again, I told you every person that's 18 years old to 40 years old will be in God's services. You'll be working for free. You work a 4-hour day. You'll work 4 hours a day, and somebody else will be there. God's ministry will put the next another person there as a co-partner for you to make sure that you are, you'll have as many people that you've got 24 hours a day people if you want, doing it with the same frame of mind to get as much done as they can to become the best. What I'm saying is all those people will be free, but they'll only be working physically for the company to learn and be the best, to be exactly like the owner wants of the company, and do exactly what they don't give them any problems. And then you all the other 2 hours, 1 hour, you will be going to kindergarten. You start at kindergarten. I'm paying you to be in kindergarten with real kindergarten children. Yeah, you'll be in regular classes, and you'll have to spend 1 hour in each class, in a class every day during the week, every school day. And what you're going to be doing is you're going to be teaching a teacher's aide, and you're also going to be learning what you forgot, maybe learning something for the first time, but you'll also be speaking on different language every day. There'll be 7 languages learned each day, with another one be used, focused on. English will be one language, Arabic will be another, Chinese will be another, Russian will be another. You see, this is the way it's going to be. That you have in kindergarten, now you're the son going to kindergarten, but you only have to learn up to to the level that they actually do in their own country, because that's what they're going to be teaching you. Yes. If it's nothing like in America, learning your ABCs for that one school year and how to count to 10, that's all you have to learn before you can go to the first grade the following year. What else you got to do for the next 16 years? If you same as being on the job, but you're just doing something different. The next thing you will be doing is spending an hour a day learning martial arts, particularly the martial arts that I want to teach, that God wants to teach, and that's going to be judo, jujitsu, and kempo. These specific styles, they go together, and they would be what everybody learns. After you got 1 hour to travel to work, you got 1 hour to travel out. That's out of your 8 hour day. You're paid one God's coin a week, $66,000 a week. What person in this world is going to refuse that? And it's equal all throughout the whole world. So everything's free. All you got to do is physically spend the money on building the company, furnishing the furniture, the machines, whatever has to be done. But we are the free labor of the world. That's why everything's going to be free. Does that make a perfect understanding? All data will be gone except for medical data in the world. Everybody will have a chance to start over. Don't care what you've done in the past. You're starting over. People will learn not to judge each other, because people are going to get busy for themselves and their families and learn. Once you mess up, there's 2 things can happen if you start messing up. First off, your income stops because it's on suspension pending investigations. Not the whole family's money thing. If you got your sons and daughters are not going to be, um, or not, and your wife or your spouse, if she's not involved, will not lose their income. It's still going. But the point of the matter is, not you personally are going to go home and sit on your hands. While investigators, not FBI, not CIA, not anybody by the government, but investigators, private investigators, will go by whatever numbers they want. It's free. It's like a bounty to find anything dirt on you, and then that'll be investigated to the max. If you're found guilty, you could lose all or part of your God's coin income. Furthermore, if you're found guilty, you don't have a job anymore. You don't got a way to make God's coin until all restitution is paid. You got to pay restitution, and you got to pay all back that anything that you gain from that illegal experience. So, is anybody or any country going to act up when that's at risk? No, that's a way to control people. We're just receive the money and keep you know, your nose out of other people's business. Don't go to other people to steal their money or help. That's what's wrong with people. People will not fight. They have to have a gun. They have to have things. In Kempo, there is no weapons, no guns, no spears, no knives. We'll take it. We're taught to take those things from you: knives, spears, guns, bows. In Kempo, we are always going straight to the person. We don't back up to get a chance to kick us. We don't give them a chance to shoot us. We're gonna because we know that we're gonna get shot. We can't hesitate. We are coming in at you to take your knife, to take your weapon, to take your spear. We're running at you, and we know that there's going to be a first strike, but there's not going to be a second. In other words, I'm not going to kill you. We're not trained to kill. We're trained to break your bones. We're trained to break your bones or to dislocate your bones, but we will stop you from making the next move. It stops every fight. There is no fighting in Kempo. It's not allowed. How is it allowed? You didn't do your job the first time. It it may happen, but it's still the point is you're not going to sit there and fight a person. You're there to stop it. The next thing everybody's going to be trained to do is, besides the martial arts, is to become a paramedic, an EMT. They will do this at a police academy or military facility on one weekend. Whoever's in that household, that family, or whatever, will spend one weekend, 3-day weekend, to go and learn to be a paramedic. 12 consecutive weekends per month. One week in a month, you'll go to a base to learn how to save your lives and get certified. Once certified, after a year, you will be a certified. You will be on call for any ambulance service, any rescue squad, the fire departments, anybody. You will be a life-saving force that's on call 24 hours a day with the same phone you got issued. You will be there and you'll know what you're doing. You will be a paramedic, capable. Let's say, if the next part has to do, it goes with this. You will learn to shoot weapons, the same weapons the military shoots, the same as the police force uses. And the people that already think they know how to use these weapons, they'll relearn. But they're only going to shoot for the hands and the feet. Only for the hands and the feet. Anybody in God's services, they will have to relearn to shoot these weapons only for the hands and the feet. Not the head and the chest, not the arms and the legs. That's what I'm saying. We're not out to kill anybody. Because of what's inside you is life. You have your family inside you, living inside you. You have your unborn living inside you. They got to have a chance to live. And most of all, who else is inside you? You're dead. Allah's not inside you. God is not living inside you. You just stop them. Plus the millions of others that are inside you. So you shoot for the hands and the feet. You understand the importance of life. This world will, cowboys and Indians, where we just love to watch these shows and play the video games of killing each other. We're barbaric toward humanity, ourselves, our children, our own people in our own bloodstream. We do not taking them in consideration at all. This is God's message. Eventually, everybody that certifies in their homes to have the weapons, uh, and shoot the weapons and shoot for the heads and feet, and they get certified after a year. It might take longer if they're not a good shot. But what I'm saying is that they will eventually certify. And once they certify, they'll be on call 24 hours a day for the neighborhood watch, for the police department, for the military, for the National Guard. If we're ever called to help the real military who do kill or are assigned to kill, hopefully that'll never happen. There will be no wars, but there will always be a real military that is ready to shoot to kill. Why? Because every country has to have this force. Just like the United States has always had the Bill of Rights to have guns in case the governments or stronger forces of the world come against you. We have the right to defend our own home. Without that, we are at the mercy. We are compromised. Right now, God is compromised. His kingdom is compromised. Humanity is compromised. Why? Because some believe in God, some don't believe in God. Some don't know God, some do. The world is taken upon itself to do its own will. Leave me alone. I'll do whatever I want to do. Very few people are willing that know God in this world. The same thing happens with God. God's the opposite. God is the gods that have been ignored, walked on, ignored, left behind. I think that might be the majority. And the majority of gods that feel the same way do not want this reunion. They don't want this reunion. They'd rather see our planet gone, and we got other planets out there that they can start over somewhere else. Or simply just let us kill ourselves, destroy ourselves by whatever means and clean up the mess and do it on this planet. That's how you guys want it. That's how those gods want it too. My God's the only one that's right now making any sense. God's coin is going to be it's going to give everybody the freedom, the financial freedom to have. There's no excuse not to create your own businesses. You create your businesses, create and everything you can imagine. Now farms, hey, we're going to give you all the labor to run that. You buy the land, and the farm workers to run that farm will be given to you. Buy that business, buy your own McDonald's. The labor that's going to work at McDonald's is going to be given to you. Build that hospital. The labor is going to be given to you. Build that clinic. Build your cake shop, your pastry shop. And if you want, you'll be there to teach them, because they'll be up to your standards. Build your factory. Everything buddy will have free. You give them free labor, and these people will sign up for a year's enlistment, a 2-year enlistment, 3-year enlistment, depending on what they want to do. If they just want to be a landscaper, or the help that starts is doing the first step in dishwashing and working behind the scenes in the restaurant business. But they just want to be certified to be a good dishwasher or to be a good landscaper. They sign up for 1 year. 1 year. If they want to keep on going, they're going to be there. If they want their income, they can go through 16 years to become doctors, or they can have get that income of God's coin a week for a year and be learning their trade. the landscapers, road workers. Say you got a 1 year enlistment. Then when you go to this 2 year enlistment, then you're actually signing on another year so that you can be a foreman, so that you can be a part of the. You'll start learning the business to the where you are part of the. How do you say the people the, the, the people that over the workers? Okay, the administrations. So you become part of the administrations. A 3rd year enlistment, you're actually becoming have the ability to become an owner, to learn how to be. It's when you start getting into uh, the nuts and bolts that you could the numbers, responsibility. Then when you go to that level, that's a 3 year enlistment. To become a nurse, it will take 5 years. It'll take 5 years. She'll start her first year doing bedpans as a CNA. Her second year, she'll uh, she'll be become a the next level. It'll take 4 or 5 years to become a nurse. It'll become 7 or 8 years to become a doctor. That's just how it's going to work in enlistments. The same way as it does in regular military. So, but everybody's on the job learning something. And if you want to spend 16 years in the military, there's no reason not to become the top of the shoot to be the general of the army. You know, if you're there to be a position of anything, then you could stay in God's services all that time. And you during that time when you're God's services, you are available to the police, to the ambulance service, to the uh, any service that's performed, the fire departments. You all can do the job. You're on call 24 hours a day while you're in the service. You'll be paid even more every time you are called into action. Anyway, that's what the world has to look forward to: free education, free health care, free daycare. Can you ask for any more? You have the money, like I said, even a haircut and a manicure are being done by students. That's services, nails, fingernails, pedicures, manicures, dentists, hearing. Everybody, we're going to be taking care of ourselves better, for free, even though we got the money to pay for it. Because these people have to learn their job. The Word of God has got an answer for everybody, and that's why I'll see the leaders behind closed doors and in public that they want. The presidents, the highest people in the clergy, in their clergies. Dalai Lama is included. Nobody's not included. We'll see how which religion holds water. I'll just tell you right now. None of them. None of them. They're relying on a fact that somebody met God and talked to God, starting out with, and then going by that. It could be the writings of Moses. It could be the writing of Jesus Christ. They weren't there. They don't know exactly what was said. It was they, but we do have an idea of what they said, and we do have if we let the true transcripts of these discussions. Let them show the proof, and let's talk about it. The fact is that Jesus did live and he did die on the cross. You know who knows the best of that? The Ethiopians. I got to go see. I got to see them. Why do they keep their mouth closed about so many things and accepting so many different theories? When the fact is that They were the three wise men that found Jesus in the manger, and they followed him to the cross with the Ethiopian spies, which were Hebrew. They spoke Hebrew. A certain number of people since the ark spoke Hebrew. The Ethiopian's Orthodox Church is a Hebrew church that speaks both languages. They speak Ethiopian and they speak Hebrew. Okay, I have to go to I'll stop talking about that until I actually go behind closed doors with the leaders of the Ethiopian Orthodox Church. There's a lot to talk about. I don't care. I know that he got the Ark of the Covenant, but that doesn't make. I'm not there about the Ark of the Covenant. I'm not there to see the past. I'm here to create the future. Let's bring the proof of what what really happened. Tell your side of the version to the world. You want to follow religions, but religions again do not gonna undermine God. God lives within you. These are underlying discussions. Christianity, Jesus is an underlying issue. Every church, that has merit, but they have to bring the merit out of every religion. In other words, they have something to teach. But you can't be taught until you agree on it. It's got to be agreed upon. To use those proof of what you're teaching is right. And that meeting will be documented. You got to explain to the world why you're going to make a rule. Man's going to make a rule and talk for God. No. Hey, you don't talk for God, like make the judgments for God. I'm a messenger. I'm a messenger of God. I can hear God, and God tells me what to say. Or God will speak Himself through me. Okay? God just talked to you. Islam knows when they hear that. Muslims know when they hear that. They know the voice of God. But they fear the voice of God, or they at least respect the voice of God. That's what I'm trying to and I have to tell Christians are up for. There's so many Christians that speak tongues, the real tongues, just like the apostles. How can you, if it's a Christian, accept Christianity when you know in the Bible it tells you Paul wrote, "I'd rather speak 5 words of my own understanding than 10,000 words of Allah, of God." They know that it exists, yet they don't say anything. Oh, he's Jesus, he's God. They have Jesus. They have the Antichrist. They are the Antichrist because they are against Christ, because they're worshiping, they're following the words of Paul, of speaking your own words of understanding, and don't want to listen to 10,000 words of what God says. Exactly. Am I the only person speaking in tongues that realize this? Come on, people! If you got the gift of tongues, what have you been doing? You're hypocrites. The worst hypocrites in the world. To sit there and know the truth, to know that tongues is God's voice, His understanding. It's not nobody can interpret it, not 100%. When I told you God's name, Kapote, kapote, shila kapote. When I said that, it was God that told me, okay, you caught him because I said I'm gonna take IE as what you told me as being like internal energy. You know what God told me? He accepts that. That's all he said. That's acceptable. I'll accept that. Other than that, I don't teach nothing. I'm not a teacher or a preacher. I'm a messenger. And I'm also an investigator for God. I'm in the hands and feet of God to address these people behind closed doors. To ask them the questions God wants to ask them. Let them go before, talk to God behind closed doors. But whatever the results of that is, it will be made public and the world will know. I don't care if it's the words of in Buddhism, Dalai Lama words. I don't care whose words they are. Explain them to the world. Explain them, and let's get beyond the fact that we're always while we're in discussions, we have we're sidelining God unless God's involved in that discussion. And God's going to be behind closed doors in that discussion. That's why He's going to see them behind closed doors. If that was a Billy Graham, that would be God talking directly to Billy Graham. What have you been doing? Telling people they're going to hell. You say that you're a saved group when everybody in this world is a living temple of God, has their own family and them within themselves, plus all the unborn children of the whole family inside their bodies, and you have ignored that. You said that you are the elite group. The elite group go to some elite place. This is so hypocritical. It's so disrespectful. I understand that's what the Christians are going to face me. I'm nobody. I'm just Joseph, the Reverend Joseph. I'm going to face you, but I'm bringing God with God's. But I'm not to see you because God led me to you. He's going to lead me to you, the doors to the President of the United States. He'll call the kettle black if you're black. You know what I'm saying? He's going to tell you, what the heck are you doing? That's what God's going to say behind closed doors. You're not in control of me. You're not in control. You're not going to be in control of others. Mean, tekel parazim, or the words on the writing on the wall that Daniel spoke to Belshazzar. You have not. You've been weighing the balances and do not measure up. You're going to lose your kingdoms. You understand what I'm saying? Your days are numbered. You're going to lose your kingdoms. You stay up there. I will be going to see President Xi Jinping, and I'll be going to see Kim Jong-un. And not just to tell them thing. I got important business with China. I got important business with Kim Jong-un. The first book I got called The Torchmasters is all about Korea. North Korea and South Korea. Korea should be a united country. You know who? But the thing about it is they got interference from every country around them. They can't be left alone. England, Germany, France, Portugal, United States, the Dutch, Italy. All of you have gone in throughout the world and meddled with somebody else's business or even worked together against every country. Leave each other alone. Tend to your own business. Do for your own country. China, look how much territory China has. Ground, the biggest country in the world. Huge, bigger, way on bigger than Africa. Not way on bigger, but it's bigger than Africa. But why are the people in China living in such dense populations when the people could have their own farms with already paid labor to tend those farms? Coming there and uh, everybody working and not right on top of each other. A thing like COVID would not be effective if we were spread out. These are things that could have been avoided. But the world, what Mao Zedong did, would never happen again. Be it what happened in Vietnam, in the United States and Vietnam, would never happen again. And we're aiding France, for God's sake. They're the ones that invaded Vietnam, starting that with to build their plantations and take over their economy. Today, everybody's thankful that happened. But now that it's been created, and now you got it's French speaking Vietnam, or partially everybody in France knows how to speak French, and they align their governments to their parliaments and whatever they have. England did the same thing in Hong Kong, did the same thing in Shanghai. England did the same thing in India, Africa. Oh, they're highly respected. But at what cost are they respected? But now that they've established the languages and their borders, now it's time to get back to your roots and leave each other's country alone. Get your governments out of everybody's business and let the people decide. China has a lot. It has everything to gain by getting God's going in their country. They got everything to gain, and that's what I have to negotiate with. Iran has everything to gain, uh, uh, and I have everything to negotiate with every country because I'm going to give everybody free money, but still honor the country they live in. But they have to first recognize God, Allah, God, whatever name you want to give God. Aid makes no difference. When you understand that God's inside you and you're getting your money from God, that money can end that day if you want to rebel against it, if you want to go the wrong way. That goes for everybody in the country. That's the way to keep everybody thing. You want something from God? Well, then God wants something from you. It's never been to do our will. It's been to do the will of God, and that's what the whole thing's all about. Do God's will first, and not the will of what you hear about everybody's thing. It's the first rule in the Ten Commandments was, "Thou shalt worship the Lord thy God," or honor. It actually says, "Thou shalt not have any gods before me." Now, what are they saying about that? That means the God that's living in you. Don't let anybody, other God, in anybody else, talk over the God that's inside you. Let that God that's inside you, that knows you, that's been with you since the day of conception, and so taking every step in your thing, let that God be the first one that talks to you, and do not accept any other God before. That's what it's God's saying. Okay, I'm gonna have to leave this go. I spoke long enough. I said a lot in this message, but I'm leaving. I'll be leaving here tomorrow morning for a 16-year journey, and God will make Himself known to you for sure. Good night.